roots back home, but back away nice and slow. Feel the ebb and flow. Please get sucked out to sea. I wonder where you are, 'cause you know I take these things kinda extra hard. This back and forth will take me anywhere I need to be. I can't need you anymore. You're out there, you're on your own, and I can't need you anymore. They say all good things must end, but it's been too long since I've seen one again. It's over now, you played your role, now it's time to dissipate. I may not get very far, let's be honest, I will never be a star. But holding on will take me anywhere it needs to be. Take a good look, 'cause I'll be gone. I can't need you anymore. You're out there, you're on your own, and I can't need you anymore. Tell me I'm all wrong. Anything to make it easier. Oh, keep your secret songs, 'cause I can't hear them anymore. Oh, tell me when it's all done. Take these memories and burn them all, one by one. 'Cause it's not fair to keep holding on. I can't need you anymore. 'Cause you're out there, you're on your own, and I can't need you anymore. 'Cause it's not fair to keep holding on. Take your words back home, back away nice and slow. Feel the ebb and flow, but please get sucked out to sea.
This is not the end, she says. She's drenched in blood. You laugh and say, good God, are you crazy? We've had enough. What's flowing like broken glass in your ears? But against all odds it starts to make sense, and you feel the way you were selfish and now together think of everything we could be. We could be friends.
Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Araya Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. We're live for race number 6 at Nashville for the Nashville 160. I'm your lead announcer, Ernest Leffy, and joining me in the booth, as always, is my right-hand man, Jacob Bell, and executive producer, Harold Tharner. How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. I'm excited to be here at Nashville. A little bit of an uncomfortable track. It's something new for all of us here. I don't think a lot of the drivers in the field tonight have much of experience here at Nashville. Of course, one of the newer tracks on iRacing. So I'm super excited to see how tonight plays out. A new track. It's an interesting layout. It's very unique, and I think it's going to be producing a lot of good racing for the rest of the night and the rest of the week, I should say.
Yeah, we got a full slate of racing here, starting tonight with the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. Going to go 120 laps around this track. Kind of rusty here, guys, because we had an off week last week, and everyone's all, oh, how do I remember how to do this, or I remember how to do that? So will we see some of that from the drivers tonight? Some rust?
You know, I think rust always kind of comes into a factor once you take a week off. But obviously with iRacing, it gives these guys an advantage because a lot of them are able to stick in the sim, practice throughout the week, still run races, whether it be through officials or other leagues that these guys are in. So they can kind of stay, up to tune a little bit. I think the rust comes in between you and me, Hunter.
Yeah.
Being out on a ship for the last week without any computer, we disassembled and reassembled the computer today. It's actually about 5 o'clock. So, and we got our stuff fixed. All the gremlins that got into the machine last week. So we should be good to go in here. If my head can get back into the game now, being on a cruise ship out in the ocean, nice sunny weather, and then getting back to here when it was 40 degrees was a shock to the system.
Oh yeah, I can imagine, especially being on a cruise. Speaking of cruise, let's take a look at our point standings and see what drivers have currently been on a cruise. Those of which being Matthew Robinson and Jordan Hurley. Matthew Robinson won race 2 and 3, and Jordan Hurley's reeled off the last 2 at Las Vegas and Dover. Then third, you see Nick Calder, our Daytona winner. Then the rest of the field you see below. You got Eli Green, Rick Christensen in the top 5. Some decent runs here that have propelled Forrest Smith into the top 10. Sean Corcoran's in there in 8th. But James Shanewolf, he's moving up, and he's in that 12th and final playoff spot.
Yeah, Shanewolf is going to be somebody to keep our eyes on as we get closer and closer to that playoff cutoff race. Of course, 12 regular season races, and these guys can either lock themselves in with a win or get inside that top 12 in points. But for the moment, Hunter, if you look inside that top 12, there's some names that I think have been really, really fast, and then some other names that have been doing it throughout consistent running. And I think Brian Dixon is the one that jumps out to me right away. When you look at him, he's 5th place in the points, of course, 6th on the playoff grid. But he has an average finish of 10th place, and really he's had some nice solid runs, not a lot of incidents, not a lot of torn up race cars. He's just been able to hang around till the end of these things and come home with a solid finish week in and week out. So Brian Dixon right now in that 6th spot is somebody I'm going to keep my eye on because I think he's closing in on this front group of drivers we have at the playoff picture up top.
One driver I'm keeping my eye on is Eli Green in the 28. He's the highest amongst drivers without a playoff win. It's in there 4th in the standings. He's always been there. He's always been in the top 5, and whenever he gets up to the front, it just feels like something goes wrong.
Yeah,
and he just needs to be able to finish those races, and I feel like if he does, then he'll have a good shot at being strong in the playoffs.
And I think when you look at the playoff picture as well, that cutoff from 12th to 13th is starting to get a little bit bigger as the season goes on. We saw the first few weeks, it was only a point or 2 and then 3 or 4 points, and now it's stretched out to a 10-point margin between James Shanewolf, who we mentioned before, and then Gary Lewis in the number 69 car, who I think is going to be another one of those guys who's going to make his way inside the top 12. So I think it might be a fight to the end.
Yeah, Gary Lewis has been really strong as of late, and who knows, maybe he can make it inside the top 12 with teammate Forrest Smith.
Absolutely, yeah. I think those two, for One Mind to Design Motorsports, have been steadily improving week in and week out. And speaking of some of our teams, you see the 0-2 there, Jordan Hurley. How about we go over to our newest team, and that's the 21 right there, of Dominic DeLeo, who's running a brand new team he started with Mark Patterson in the number 51 car is the second on that team. That's Vizicas Motorsports. And it was an interesting story talking to Dom about why they decided to put the team together, and the name is dedicated to their grandfather, So it's pretty neat to see these guys jumping in, making a team. Entering a little late, but they're looking forward to growing that team for the rest of this season, and I'm certain they'll be back next season even stronger.
Yeah, they definitely will be. I mean, Dom DeLeo, he's got great pace in practice and in qualifying, but come race time, there always seems to be something that goes wrong, or amiss, excuse me, with the 21 cars. So hopefully he can get off on the right foot here in Nashville.
Yeah, just needs to put the race together from start to finish, which a lot easier said than done. So we see these guys winding down practice here, Hunter. Robinson in the number 40 car at the top of the charts. He's another driver that's got a little bit of a mix-up in terms of teams this week. He's actually subbing for Sean Corcoran in Samson Motorsports.
Ah. So that'll be big for Corcoran.
Yeah, he'll get the team points. Obviously, no driver points will be handed to the 22, but the team, Samson Motorsports, will get the points of the number 40 of Matthew Robinson tonight, as well as their second driver, which is the 66 of Bobby Tension. If we can get a shot over to Matthew Robinson's paint scheme, you'll see he's got the Northern Capital letters all over that race car, so he's real geared up and decked out in the Samson gear already. So we'll get the scheme updated.
I was gonna say it looks like the same paint scheme he's been running, but yeah, fun to point out he's run the least amount of laps here in our practice session. I think
Oh wow.
he's at lap 9 currently, and the other guys have run over 20, 30, 40. There's one, Jeremy Horn has run 55 laps. That's the most amongst the 25 drivers that we have here tonight.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on this. I think we got a lot of good names at the front of the field and on top of the practice charts as practice is winding down. You know, I think it's obviously a little too early to pick an early favorite, but, you know, I think once qualifying gets started and we see where these guys shape up, it'll be a little bit more telling to see who will be at the front of the field. But, Hunter, got to get back to Nashville. I think you got some interesting facts about this track and what makes it so unique.
I mean, it's very interesting because from the size of it, it looks like 1.5 miles when it is actually 1.33 miles. And the banking in the corners, 14 degrees. The straight's got 4 degrees of banking. It races like a short track, it really does. But the length of it, it's just, I don't know. It's a very interesting track. And I feel like some of these guys, so we've been seeing it earlier on before we went live. Some of the guys were slipping coming out of turn 4. Turn 4 might be a treacherous spot for these drivers.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the learning point throughout this entire week. So I would anticipate probably tonight more than any other night, you'll see a lot of Cup drivers and Lodge Box Series drivers tuning in and wanting to learn and see how this race plays out because it's just such an unknown. This track hasn't even been on the service for that long, and obviously it's one of the newer tracks to the real life schedule. So the addition of Nashville Superspeedway, it's going to shake some things up, and I'm really, really excited to see how this week plays out here for all 4 of our series.
Yep, absolutely. It was a difficult thing to get a handle to in real life, and we'll see how that translates to in virtual here on iRacing. Qualifying about to get underway here. A 10-minute qualifying session, 2 laps each for each driver. You tap the wall, smack the wall, kiss the wall, give it a little nudge. Your lap time will not count. And if you do it on lap 1, then you got to put all your effort into it on lap 2. And if you do it on lap 2, well, then you're kind of stuck with what you got on lap 1.
Starting at the back.
Yep. Depends on how you run your first lap, because we've been seeing sometimes throughout the season we've been seeing drivers run their fastest lap on lap 1, but most of the time they run their fastest lap on lap number 2.
And I think tonight the approach to qualifying is just probably run 2 laps as good as you can. I don't think it's going to be a focus like you were talking about there on, you know, lap 1 versus lap 2. I feel like with the uncomfortableness these guys are going to be feeling here tonight, they'll probably just try to put together 2 quick laps, and whichever one happens to be faster, they'll be happy with and move on to the race, because it's going to be a hard track to get a handle of. I really do think that.
Tell you what, I'm loving the look of this number 55 of Adam Capps. Just it just gives so much. For me, it gives me Ricky Hendrick vibes. That's a paint scheme he ran, but more notably now, Kyle Larson runs that similar paint scheme. Looks like the 5 is a duplicate and not an actual 55, which that's okay, but I'm really liking that paint scheme that Adam Capps has.
Yeah, it's a good looking scheme for sure.
You'll see on the top right, the fastest driver will pop up in their lap time, as we saw with the 1 of Trevor Williams. Now we see it with Rick Christensen.
Little surprised to see a lot of these guys
Oh.
coming out that early, as you see the Trevor Williams machine slide sideways on lap number 2, but thankfully he ran a pretty stout first lap. But yeah, Hunter, I'm shocked to see a lot of these guys coming out so early because with the sun setting in the background and the lights kicking on, you would attempt. Wow, look how sideways those guys were through turn 4 there. You would expect to see the times picking up the deeper into the qualifying session it gets, but Rick Christensen to the top of the charts with a 30.562, which is almost identical to what he ran in practice. And how about Trevor Williams with the 30.626? That is identical to what he ran in practice.
I knew turn 4 would be a trouble spot. We've already seen 2 cars get loose there. Rick Ward just got loose there through turn 2. Robinson got a little loose there, but not as loose as the rest of the field. We'll see what lap time he puts down. It might have been the green flag lap, and it was a green flag lap. No, it wasn't. It was the first lap. It went right to the top. First lap for Matthew Robinson, 30.552, exactly 1/10 quicker than
100.
100. Yeah, I knew.
It was close though.
Close. Yeah, just one off. 1/100th exactly quicker than Rick Christensen. Now there's Nick Halda, the Daytona winner.
My favorite thing about winning Daytona is for the rest of the season you get referred to as the Daytona winner. Every track. That's the number one thing somebody will say about you. Daytona's a big race though. It's the first one of the season, and that's how you get to know some of these drivers in the series.
Oh, absolutely.
We have a new subscriber talking about Gary Lewis out there saying that we need to keep an eye on Gary since he's keeping an eye on us. If we go back to Gary Lewis's picture.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I have a first-time chat from viewer, Scuba Steve, yo. Go Bobby Tinch. Got a Bobby Tinch fan in the chat. Bobby Tinch, I think he's going. Yep, there he is. Going out to make his qualifying run. Didn't have a good lap in practice, but can turn that around with a good qualifying lap.
We were able to update our paint schemes. If you haven't seen, the 40 did come out with the new Northern Capital design.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that. It really blends well.
13 drivers have taken a time so far, and Robinson, as we just mentioned, he's actually on the top of the charts, followed by Rick Christensen and then Trevor Williams. And didn't see James Shanewolf jump up there to 4th, but there he is in that number 31 car as we see the 66 of Bobby Tinch starting his qualifying run.
Yeah, racing for a win. Go number 1 Trevor Williams. So we got a fan in the house for the number 1 car.
Yep, also from subscriber Atreyu8856. Keep your eye on Gary Lewis because with his picture, he's keeping an eye on you.
What Harold just said, man.
I know, it's like we have a parrot in the group, so I must have brought one back from the Caribbean.
I must have tuned out the last minute or so.
Focusing on Bobby.
Yeah. Well, there's Mr. Tinch in the 66, currently 10th on the track. Man, I really tuned that out.
It's like deja vu.
Yeah, must have been.
There's Dominic DeLeo and their group here. There you go, Fasicas Motorsport.
Eat, Sleep, Race. Yep, the number 21. See DeLeo have fast laps in practice, maybe sometimes in qualifying, but the race time, something always seems to go amiss with that number 21. So he is off in the turn 1.
I think sometimes he's doing that social media stuff with inside the cockpit that never works out. What do you think here? Well, Jake jumped out of here. I was going to ask you, Jake, about what it's like to be texting while you're driving. Even in the Sims, not a good idea. We see Dominic every once in a while post something into Twitch or on the Twitch TV there. So I'm like, hey, man,
Jake
you need to drive, man, drive.
Jake's actually in the admin tower tonight. The admins tonight being Brad Slaughter and Ryan Hartz. So there's Dom DeLeo, 5th in qualifying. He was 5th in practice. He's looking to improve on his run in lap number 2.
This is lap 3, so he's getting extra laps in now.
Oh, lap 3.
Barney the Flagman up there watching qualifying.
Yeah, make sure nobody does anything stupid. He's like, all right, you people.
That's a tough one, making sure nobody does anything stupid down here.
Another thing was
sit in 5th, 30.677.
So according to quick calculations through fuel, we're looking at 50 to 51 laps on a full tank of gas. Well, of course, we're at 75% is what we run here at REI Racing. And they have 3 sets of tires in the pits, 1 on the car. And trying to Trying to look for one more thing. What's our pit road speed here? Oh, dropping down to 45 miles an hour coming off of turn 4. So what do you think of that, Jake? I mean, I know you've been doing some practice on the track. So what's it look like coming off of turn 4, getting woed down to pit speed?
Oh, I would imagine tonight it won't be easy at all. I think the corners are so unique here at Nashville because for me personally, and I'm not, I didn't put in a lot of practice laps here at all by any means, but it was almost difficult to tell the difference between the apron in the corners and the actual low line on the bottom side of the racetrack. So I would expect that blend line coming down on the pit road and calling out to the other drivers on the racetrack, "Hey, I'm coming to pit. Hey, I'm slowing up here." I expect that could get a little hairy as the night goes on.
Got about 2 minutes left in qualifying.
A lot
Still
of
some drivers who have yet to go out.
A lot of drivers. 18 drivers have taken times, and we're looking at 25
Brian
drivers.
Dixon.
So
Yeah,
7.
that's Brian Dixon right there in the 33. He's 8th on the chart. He just completed his first lap. Actually, no, that was the second.
Jordan Hurley out here now.
Jordan Hurley's been on some sort of a streak that we've gotten a little bit of deja vu with. After Nick Halden won Daytona, it was Matthew Robinson winning the next 2 races. And then after that, it's been Jordan Hurley winning the next 2 races after that, which have been our last 2 races. So question is, can he go for 3 in a row here in Nashville?
If I'm not mistaken, he also got a few extra bonus points for pole position.
Yeah, he's great with winning the pole too. So he comes off turn 4 here. This will be the completion of his first lap.
I'm going to show my age here when we talk about pole position. I just heard in the back of my head, prepare to qualify.
All right, the 02 car sits in 9th with a 30.74.
A reference to the video game pole position. Old 80s arcade machine. The 02, I'm coming to see this a lot lately. These guys with these empty or sponsorless cars end up winning a lot of races. I don't understand that.
I don't either.
There he goes, right back to the top of the charts. It's like never had an off week. Jordan Hurley sits on the pole here with less than 20 seconds to go, and I think that'll do it. Jordan Hurley looking like he'll be your pole sitter once again.
Yeah, and I was just literally, as I was watching him complete his second lap, I was going to try to find exactly what his qualifying stats have been. And it's a first, and a second in his first 3 starts, and he does it again with another pole here tonight.
Another one.
His 3rd pole in 4 races, by the way.
That's an amazing stat right there.
That's a streak. Yeah.
Yeah. He's looking to keep another one going. All right, here's your lineup for tonight's Nashville 160. On your front row, once again, Jordan Hurley on the pole, and alongside him, the 40 of Matthew Robinson.
And then starting inside of row 2, you got Rick Christensen, and outside of him is going to be Trevor Williams in the number 1.
Row 3, you'll find James Shanwolf in the 31, and alongside him, Dom DeLeo in the 21.
Starting in row 4, you got Nicholas Halda in the 87. The 84 of Forrest Smith's going to start outside of him.
Row 5, you'll find the 33 car of Brian Dixon, and alongside him, the 26 of Michael Leip.
I really like this this drone shot we got going on here as the cars are gridding up. Gary Lewis is going to roll off from the 11th spot, and starting 12th is going to be Kevin Hayes.
Starting in row 7 will be Bobby Tinch in the 66, and alongside him, the 23 of Dean Gagliano.
Mark Patterson making his debut tonight for Vizika's Motorsports will roll off 15th, and starting 16th is going to be Caleb Steimer.
Row number 9 will find the 34 of Rick Ward, and alongside him, the 55 of Adam Capps.
Rounding out the top 20 is going to be Dustin Carroll, and alongside his teammate, Jeremy Horn.
Row number 11 will find the 57 of Jordan Berry, and alongside him, the 20 of Drew Trader, excuse me.
Nolan Neiman, JJ Wang, and Brandon Hedrick's going to round out the rest of the field tonight as we got, 25 starters expected to roll around here at Nashville Superspeedway. The first time we get to visit this racetrack for week number 6 of REI racing.
Yeah, this is. I'm really looking forward to this one. I was looking forward to the races in real life just because I never really got to watch Nashville when I was growing
Yeah.
up.
I
And
mean, same here. This is the first time I've ever watched a race on iRacing here. I think, a lot of these guys probably in the same boat as me bought this track within the last week for the sole purpose of coming here. So I'm really excited to see how it plays out too. I have zero idea what to expect.
And Drew Trader, he says that he's not racing. He was in just in case.
Yeah, he was a standby guy looking for team points in case Gary Lewis couldn't make it, but 69 of the Gary Lewis was able to show up. And speaking of showing up, Hunter, I feel like I've been showing you guys up a little bit with our pre-race picks here in the Pro Series. So I got to let you guys go first. Who you got tonight?
Well, I'm gonna go with the guy who's on pole 3 in a row for Jordan Hurley.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the number 1 of Trevor Williams, and hopefully I don't give him any bad luck.
I'm going to go for the breakthrough story, making the first official start as a team. Dominic DeLeo finds victory lane tonight.
Wow.
Interesting call there from all of us. Wonder if any bad luck will carry through with Harold or myself. Hopefully Jake does not bring bad luck. Pace truck makes the hard left turn onto pit road. Got 120 laps here slated for us here tonight. And Jordan Hurley leads us to the green flag here in Nashville.
It's important to note these guys can't use the apron on these starts and restarts, or else that'll count as a lane change violation. Leader Jordan Hurley did a good job keeping it up on the track, and he sports away with the lead as they head off the turn 2.
Yeah, he's got a comfortable gap between him and Robinson very early on. This will be interesting to look at here as they roll through 3 and 4. Seen a lot of guys get loose coming off turn 4. Hopefully they don't get loose whenever they're side by side, and then that'll create a big accident if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the best way to kind of get a glimpse at everything. We got the battle kind of tightening up here for the lead already between the 40 of Matthew Robinson and the 02 of Jordan Hurley. The 26 of Michael Light was handed a drive-through penalty he's going to serve this lap. If you want to get a shot of that, Harold, we'll get our first look of how that transition onto pit road is. And this penalty is coming from a few weeks back at the Las Vegas race, so he's got the drive-through penalty. He made it look pretty easy, though. He got way out of the way down there on the apron and slowed up in time.
Let's say, not much room there on the apron, especially on the front stretch. Now for the lead. This is a little bit further in the back. This is the 1 of Trevor Williams, holding on the 5th. Right behind him, Dom DeLeo in the 21. Looking to peek to the inside. Doors shut. There's the 87 of Nick Halda. Back up front. Matthew Robinson there looked like he was trying to poke his nose on the outside and get a bit of a run. But those 2 of Hurley slowly but surely has pulled just out in front of that front bumper.
And I like what I'm seeing already from the 19 of Rick Christensen back there in the 3rd spot. We've known Rick, he's got the speed. He just seems to have something happen every week that, that night where it seems like he's going to get to victory lane. Something happens that prevents it. But oftentimes, Hunter, it's the long run speed on that 19 car that really takes advantage for him. Right now, it's looking like he's hanging with him on the short run. Will that long run speed also be there?
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell if the long run speed is actually there or not. But Rick Christensen, he's got the short run speed, just got another fast lap, and he's caught the front 2.
There you see the back bumper of Matthew Robinson from 2nd. He's still following suit with our race leader, Jordan Hurley, as we work lap number 5 here of 120. Pretty much calm throughout much of the pack, Hunter. I think a lot of these drivers are trying to get in a rhythm, figure out what they got here, and then see how they can attack this for the next 115 laps.
Yeah, a lot of single file racing throughout here.
And that's probably for everyone's benefit.
Yeah. Tell you what, I love this shot with them coming off turn 2 down the back.
These straightaways
see everything. You see everything right there.
Exactly. And these straightaways here are just so long. So much can happen. It's really a unique racetrack. It's like a Martinsville on steroids, right? It's double the size, almost triple the size. The straightaways are super long, and the corners are flat and tight, and you're right up next to the apron around it. So a little bit more banking, obviously, here, though. But I'm still a little, antsy about what we're going to see as the race goes on.
As I said in the pre-race, it's got the turns are like short track racing, but then you got these long straightaways that makes it feel like it's a 1.5-mile track.
Yeah, and they pick up speed too. I mean, coming off of turn 4 right there, Hurley already up to 150 miles per hour. By the time he enters turn 1, he's going to be close to 175. So the speed is inside these race cars.
48 Robinson looking to the outside, although I don't believe he'll do much just yet. We might see the outside get rolling here later on, but right now you want to be tucked along that bottom. Also, the unique thing about this track is that it's concrete. The only other concrete track that we go to, which was last week at Dover. So Dover and Nashville, owned by the same company, are the only 2 tracks that are concrete. Everything else is pavement.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see how that affects tire wear as well. I'm not sure exactly how much that transitions over to the iRacing world, but I would imagine, newer track on the service, maybe not all the kinks are worked out as far as long run and tire wear goes. So who knows what to expect on these long runs. I mean, I think everybody's really, like I said, I feel like I'm just harping on it, but it's really going to be interesting to see, how these cars handle now versus lap 40 of a run.
And this will kind of set a tone for the rest of the weekend,
Absolutely.
For the rest of the week, because we got trucks tomorrow night, then we got the Xfinity Series, the Xfinity cars, and then we got the Cup cars here Thursday night.
Still trying to help you guys and find a battle, but honestly, I'm just not seeing anything yet. These guys are playing the patience card real well so far tonight. Closest thing we saw was up front.
Lewis, they're about sidestep there with Tinch right behind him.
So you got Jordan Hurley, Matthew Robinson, Rick Christensen, James Shanewolf, and Trevor Williams, the top 5. Dominic DeLeo up to the 6th place now, and Nicholas Halda down to 7th. Forrest Smith, Brian Dixon, and Gary Lewis rounding out the top 10. And I mentioned it earlier in the night, guys. Brian Dixon, he just does a good job of hanging right around there inside the top 10 and keeps that car clean. Hopefully I didn't just jinx him. There we go. Got a little bit of side-by-side racing back there. I see the 15 of Nolan Neiman. Looks like he might have been racing there with the 00.
Yep. That's JJ Wang in the 00.
It's for the 20th spot right there.
Right there. Whoa. Got a car going low underneath the 18 of Caleb Steimer right there. That is the 23 of Dean Gagliano. Steimer's going to give him the spot. That's for the 12th position. Meanwhile, up here, this is about for 10th. Gary Lewis in front of Bobby Tinch. There, so you can go on the apron after the initial start or restart.
Yeah. Yep. Jordan Hurley kind of stretching out his lead slightly over Matthew Robinson now. It's almost up to 4/10. And then Rick Christensen, the 19, actually has fallen off slightly as well. He's well over a second behind now, so kind of spreading out all throughout the field. I think like what we were looking at there was probably the closest battle. Seriously, it's really calmed down. These guys are kind of riding out right now, trying to log some laps in these race cars. And next thing we got to look at is the fuel strategy, Harold. I know you had some ideas of what the fuel numbers might be, but I think these guys, going to see how long they can push it for and try to make this race potentially on 2 stops, if not even trying to stretch out to 1.
Yeah, those 50-51 laps was me putting in my crew chief hat and doing the calculations. So, they could do a few other things, and that's what actually it is driving. It's not clutching or any other special tricks. So,
I mean, we haven't had a fuel mileage race in forever in ARIA, right? It seems like every race has been non-fuel mileage, or no, I'm just kidding. Every single race, it seems like, comes down to fuel in some form or fashion.
But the thing is we had that talked about in the Discord chat for quite a bit. But I went back and started thinking, the big boys have fuel races as well. I mean, it's part of racing to backward plan your pit stops, tire use, everything.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game when we get out here and start trying to calculate numbers and drive the race cars. Had a swap for position for P3. James Shanewolf actually got around Rick Christensen. It was a pretty passive move there. Rick actually just pulled out the way and let James go ahead and get on by. So clean change of positions there between Christensen and Shanewolf.
I was going to say, fuel mileage. You tried doing fuel mileage at Dover last week. We didn't know how long anyone could go, and then you just kept going and going. We're like, what was he doing? So, yeah, We didn't know what you were doing, but you tried doing the fuel run there at Dover.
Yeah, more so was just for me personally. I don't want to try to talk about myself too much and what I did, but I just knew I was, no worse than probably 13th or 14th, and I was running like 12th at the time. So I figured why not just try to catch a caution maybe at the right time. But that can, carry over into tonight. A lot of these guys, like, Harold said, he's looking at about 50 laps on fuel. Well, if you can get to 60, there's a chance you can make it on one stop. So I'm curious to see if anybody tries to save it, how long they're able to stretch out the fuel, and like we already said, that can play over to the rest of the week.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out anyone trying to stretch it.
My thing is,
it, though, two of Hurley stretched out his lead about a second. Go ahead, Harold.
I don't see the tires lasting that long, to be honest. I'm thinking about 50 laps. I'm going to be coming in for another set. There might be somebody that does it. I'm not saying they wouldn't, but me, I think I'm going 50 laps, coming down, getting me some 4 tires and getting some fuel.
Yeah.
See, they're really starting to run a little bit higher than that bottom.
And again, that could be a factor from the sun going down. We haven't really talked about that, but right on there, Hunter, they're not running that, close to that apron as much now. They've kind of moved up a half of a lane. You see our leader, Jordan Hurley, now. The sun's not completely down yet. It's still kind of in the setting form, and it's going down, though. I think another 10, 15 minutes or so, and we'll probably be completely under the lights with no, sunlight peeking through whatsoever.
Look at Jordan Hurley's line coming around the track. He's going that late entry to late apex off the corner, which is typical of trying to save tires.
Could be the case, even though if he's trying to save tires, he's stretching his lead while doing it.
That's what the best of them can do, man. If you can, exactly what you just said right there. If you can learn to conserve your tires while maintaining pace, man, that's what the best of the best do on here, really.
Looks like Shane Wolf's going for the second spot on Robinson there.
Yeah, a little battle formed up there, and he's going to get around Matthew Robinson. So now here's the flip thing, right? We talked about Rick Christensen being fast on the long run and not really having the speed on the short run. It's been the opposite script for James Shamewolf. We've seen the short run speed in that 31 car, but we haven't seen the long run speed. Maybe tonight he's got something up his sleeve.
Robinson touching the wall there, sparks flying. Going out to 40 here on the front stretch.
It's going to cost him the 3rd spot to Rick Christensen now, and potentially the 4th spot. Trevor Williams hanging right in there. He's looking underneath Matthew Robinson off of turn 2.
The only one that's checked out is Jordan Hurley, that's 2nd through 5th, pretty close to each other.
Yeah, there comes that one of Williams there, looking underneath Robinson, coming off turn 4.
Oh, they got awful close to each other there. Give him a lane, man.
Second now. Christensen moves up to 2nd. Shane Wolf back to 3rd. Williams up to 4th, and Robinson back to 5th. This is just only stretching out the lead of Jordan Hurley over to second now.
So we had, like you mentioned, Hurley out front, and then 2nd through 5th. I mean, these guys have pretty much swapped positions back and forth 2 or 3 times now. So now it's the 19 of Christensen back up to 2nd. James Shanewolf now runs 3rd, with Trevor Williams up to 4th and Matthew Robinson down to 5th after starting 2nd. But Hunter, our top 7 right now were the exact same top 7 that gridded in order for this race. So essentially no, big fall off yet from anybody that qualified inside that top 7. They're all still there.
Yeah, they called us. He's moved up to 6th. Don Leo back to 7th, but he's still got solid pace for a top 10 run.
And the real only person we've really seen gain a few positions is the 81 of Jeremy Horn, which you mentioned, Hunter. You said he ran, I think, over 50 practice laps. Well, he started 20th, and he's already up to 14th in that number 81 car. So potentially a strong run forming up here for Jeremy Horn, and I think he's one of those drivers who we could see flirting with a top 10 when it's all said and done.
Yeah, he ran over 50 laps in practice, but he didn't bother to make a qualifying lap. I think he had enough practice. Was just like, I don't need qualifying. I'm good. And seems like he's got a good enough car to make moves in the pack.
I mean, maybe just working on the long run car and trying to build speed, trying to work on his speed throughout the long run, conserve tires, wasn't super confident, maybe even made a mistake throughout qualifying and kind of was like, hey, you know what, we'll just start in the back. We know we got the long run speed to make it up, but Still 26 laps in. We're actually still green flag all the way through so far tonight, Hunter.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes we see it, we see drivers who have fast practice times and then they don't qualify, and they'd rather start in the back and get a feel for their car in the back and in traffic, dirty air, whatnot, so that they can move up later on in the race, and then when they're up front, be like, okay, well, I know what kind of car I got. See that occasionally in the 0-2 of Purley. Still has a lead of over 2 seconds now.
Saw a little bit of contact between the number 92 of Dustin Carroll and the outside wall when he was racing with the 18 here, Caleb Steimer. Looks like Caleb's going to go ahead and let him get by him there. Those two got a little tight about a lap ago coming through the high side of turn 2. 92 got up into the marbles and into the outside wall, but it doesn't seem to be too worse for wear.
Oh, hanging on to that 92 car. Resemblance of Jimmy Johnson.
So looking like maybe halfway through our fuel run already. So we can expect to see pit stops in about 20 laps potentially if our fuel numbers are right, which we'll get to see that. Yeah.
Hey, now, I do good math. Like I said, those are numbers without any trickery. So a little trickery of, you know, shutting the car off or clutching through the corners, those kind of things, throw those off. Those are actually, as I guess Jake would say, at pace laps, I guess is the best way to say that. At your best pace,
Right.
it'd be about 50 to 51 laps.
Through in the only lap time that I can see that similar to our leaders, it's all the way down in last. Michael Lipe. Last time by, our leader ran a 31.873, and Michael Lipe ran a 31.879.
Half a lap down. Well, he's down a lap, but on the other side of the track from the leaders, like are the intervals I'm seeing here.
Yeah, Michael Lipe had to serve a pass through on the initial start. Must have went on the apron.
Now, he was
Waiting on the caution.
He was issued a penalty the last week of competition that carried over into this one. I remember Jake saying.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Going back, looking at our leader, Jordan Hurley, though, I'm trying to anticipate when exactly he's going to catch some lap traffic here, because there are a few cars that are starting to come back to him already, about 5-6 seconds up ahead. So, you know, given my math, I'll give my hand at it now.
Uh-oh.
You know, he's running close to a half second quicker than those guys. They're about 5 seconds ahead. So potentially in about 10 laps, we could see the leader getting into some lap traffic, which would be JJ Wang and the number 00, as well as the 51 of Mark Patterson making his debut tonight. But he has stretched out that lead now to over 2 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds over Rick Christensen. And then it's funny how these races work out in this Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. We see a lot of grouping in terms of drivers that are, you know, similar speed-wise at any given track. Right now, it doesn't seem like there's anybody in Jordan Hurley's group.
I try you just put in the chat. Carroll is pretty short, so he might be having trouble seeing over the steering wheel.
No, I thought you were saying he was short on fuel.
No, I when I first read, I thought short on fuel. I'm like, uh-oh, that's way off. Harold, what did you do?
Yeah, no kidding. I was like, whoa. Yeah. No. I think I'm gonna stick with my numbers. They'll be pretty darn close.
I would agree with those numbers, though, in all seriousness.
Yeah.
I mean, given, you know, most of the 1.5 mile tracks, you're looking at about 40 to 43 laps or so. This is 1.1 miles, so about 50 laps sounds about right to me as well.
They said they might be able to stretch it. We'll see.
Yeah, and that's what I'm curious about, because if somebody, like, you know, obviously, if somebody can make it to lap 60, they could potentially make it to the end of the race on one stop. And in terms of tire fall off, right now our race leader, Jordan Hurley, is running 31.9. The start of the race, he was running 30.7. So just over a second of fall off, which, given, you know, the length of this track isn't too much. It's obviously significant, but I don't know if it would be worth trying to do a 2-stop if you could do it in 1.
The masked Twitch handle of Atreyu is none other than Nick Trader.
Ah, okay.
As he's announced himself, take it off, man. Take off that mask.
Well, while we were chatting, Nick Holder's moved into the top 5, and Matthew Robinson has fallen outside of the top 5, currently sitting in the 6th spot.
You know, Harold mentioned Matthew Robinson might have hit the outside wall. I wonder if there's any damage on that right side of that machine, because we've seen him drop back now from 2nd all the way back to 6th place, which is pretty uncharacteristic when we're talking about the 40 car.
Right on board, the Northern Capital on board. Coverage of tonight's Nashville 160 and of the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series is brought to you by Northern Capital. I'd like to give a big thanks to Russ and Steve Anderson of Northern Capital for their support of the Northern Capital Truck Series and all of us here at Araya, in which you can watch tomorrow night's Northern Capital Truck Series broadcast on the Araya Twitch channel.
We're going to get a good look here on the right side of that 40 car. I'm not seeing any damage. I don't know about you guys.
No, we
I
could
just
be.
see Track Racer and I see Northern Capital.
Well, you know,
That's all I see.
but I mean, it could be tire wear. You know, once you hit that wall, you know, and this is something that you could talk to Jake. It starts to be in the back of your mind that you don't want to hit it again.
Yeah, maybe. And like you said, it's not, you know, this isn't a track you got thousands and thousands of laps at. You know, potentially this is lap 38 of the race. This might be lap 38 of his career ever at this track. You know what I mean? So just maybe that lack of experience tonight not playing into some drivers' hands as much as it's helping others. And that's why we're seeing Trevor Williams, Nick Halda, some newer faces up towards the top 5. Even though I will give Trevor Williams some credit. We've seen him have some strong runs throughout this season where he's been extremely quick at the 1.5 miles.
Well, you mentioned that it might be the first laps Robinson's ran. He ran the least amount of laps in practice, although he was the quickest. He ran the least amount. Everybody else was running laps that were 20-some, 30-some, 40-some laps. Robinson didn't even crack 10 laps. So maybe that might have something to do with how his car is falling off.
No, for sure. I'm wondering who's got the big brain working and is trying to figure out the fuel strategy here, because we're pushing lap 40 now. So, you know, our numbers are saying 10 laps till they have to come down pit road. Is somebody going to try to stretch it to 60? That's what I'm curious to see, because I think if they're able to do that, it'll really, really pay off in the long run, having to do one less pit stop. But Jordan Hurley, that 3-second advantage now over second place Rick Christensen, he is really putting it on him here tonight as he's closing in onto the back bumper of the first lap car tonight. That's going to be the 00 of JJ Wang, and it's a little bit of a track in front of him, but he's getting there.
Oh, we got some pit stops here. Gary Lewis, Matthew Robinson,
there we go,
and Bobby Tinch. They've made their way on the pit road.
Well, they're cutting into the thirds.
Lap 41.
They're cutting in thirds, so they have 2 sets of tires. That's a good strategy. Knowing that you can't make it to halfway, you might as well split it up. I was about to say that, you know, we have drivers, the 40 and the 00 have spotters / crew chiefs. So, Jake, on your side as a driver, how much of an advantage is it to have somebody watching over your car and having the ability to change your tire strategy, fuel strategy for you, so you don't have to worry about driving the car?
Yeah, it's a huge help. And what we're seeing right now with those guys on pit road, the 40, the 84, the 69, those guys are also teammates. Oh, we got contact there. The 00 and the 02. That's our race leader.
Jordan Hurley gets selected via JJ Wang, and that is very unfortunate here and brings out our first caution of the night. Man, man.
I think he was trying to get to pit road in front of our race leader. It's the 00 there. We were talking about lap traffic being a factor, potentially trying to come down pit road. He is really high up onto the racetrack trying to make that angle onto pit road. That is not going to work, man. That is not how you get onto pit road here. And Harold, I got to give Harold credit here, guys. He called it before we even started this race.
Yep, the transitioning from the 14 degrees of banking onto the apron. Although that apron, very small, would be very difficult for drivers to get onto pit road.
And what a bad break for the race leader. That is going to destroy his race car. A heavy right-end damage on the 02 of Hurley.
Well, this could open up the window for drivers like Rick Christensen and James Shinewolf to get their first win. Now look at the gap they have to everyone else.
Yeah, Yeah, this is the flip side of that is the 0-0 where the caution came out. Now he's scored in front of a lot of these lead lap cars, and they're having to wait on that damage machine to catch back up before they're able to pit, and that's why you see such a big gap, which is going to actually play into the hands of the 19 and the 31 here, being able to pit with no pressure and also maintain their spot up front. So good break for these guys. You know who it's not a good break for is those cars we already saw on pit road, Hunter.
The damage for Jordan Hurley in that race car. Zoom in here.
Yeah, major damage to the front end of the O2. And it seems like I am carrying the bad luck with my race picks.
Well, I mean, for a second there, it looked like nothing was going to beat him tonight. And if it was going to have to be some form of misfortune. You know, thankfully for him, he's got 2 wins he can bounce back on. As long as he's able to maintain his spot in the top 20 in points, he'll be there. But that is a tough break.
I'll say that shot looked like Harold snuck into the
pit box. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to get it talk to his crew chief. He said he didn't want an interview.
Yeah.
No comment is what I got. I said, hey, what about the 0-0? He said, no comment.
Harold already on the case.
I tried.
Well, that brings out our first caution of the night. Honestly, didn't think we would see a caution with the way the race was going.
I didn't either. But now this opens up a whole different can of worms, Hunter. 2nd through 7th were like under a blanket that whole run, and now that's going to be 1st to 6th.
The recipient that got the most out of it was Life, wasn't he? I believe he got his lap back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he probably did because he was going to be close to that first car lap down, even with those people on pit road. And you got it. He's going to be the lucky dog, the free pass, and he'll be back on the lead lap now in the number 26.
See Caleb Steimer there still on pit road. He's actually a lap down now.
So we're going to step away real quick from our Twitch channel here. Take a quick ad break for about a minute before we get back under green flag here. Still working two to go here under this caution. But Harold, man, I give you a lot of credit. You called exactly that before we even got the green flag thrown tonight. You said, watch the pit road entrance here. It's a tricky track. It's new for everybody. And we saw the downside to trying to get onto pit road when maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, basically, he said he entered it high, and I didn't see anything in the chat. But I mean, you've been listening. Were you listening to driver?
Over radio. Yeah, I think I heard it over radio, but it was late nonetheless. You know, and you can't. You got it right there. You can't enter pit road 3 lanes up on the racetrack.
Yeah, most cases if you're going on the pit road, it's best to let them know on the backstretch, like, hey, I'm coming down pit road, so and so, da da da.
And he had to be being told that the leader was coming up on him.
Yeah.
Look at
another major one.
Look at all the wave round cars we got going right now.
Yeah, there's a good bit.
I think there's 7 wave round cars right now trying to catch back up to the field. So listen into the radio a little bit. I get a little bit of a check in with the drivers. Sounding like the O2's damage isn't as bad as we maybe initially thought. So we'll have to keep an eye and see if he's able to come up through the field. Apparently the engine's not too tore up on that machine, and they were able to get it fixed up. So we'll have to see if that O2 is able to come back up through the field.
That's the best case scenario for Jordan Hurley. Back up front, though, this opens up a whole new ball game, excuse me. Could be ballpark, whichever way you want to put it, between James Shanewolf and Rick Christensen. They share the front row, and right behind them, you got Kevin Hayes and Brian Dixon, Dean Gagliano, Adam Capps, Brandon Hedrick, Nolan Neiman, Jeremy Horner, Rick Ward is your top 10. Wow, what a top 10 we got. Pace truck, back on the pit road, and leading them to the green flag is Rick Christensen. Boy, they are really stacked up there on the bottom towards the rear of the field.
And you mentioned it there, Hunter, that stack up on the restart, all those guys that got the wave rounds are going to be stuck behind some of the slower traffic that they weren't before the caution flag came out. So now you got 6 guys that are going to have to try to navigate their way back to the front. And that includes Trevor Williams, Nick Halda, Dom DeLeo, Matthew Robinson, Gary Lewis, Bobby Tinch, and Forrest Smith. Up front, though, Christensen showing the way still.
Shane Wolf's fishtailed up into the corner. off the turn 4 up into the wall. Big smoke coming off that right rear of that car.
Nearly contact made between Shewolf and Christensen. The 31's got an edge on the bottom. Looks like he's going to take the spot away. New leader, 31 of James Shanewolf.
You know, I don't know how many more laps I can say this, so I want to get it out of the way now.
Oh, we got a wreck coming on 4. Big wreck. 2-3 cars spinning on the front stretch. There's another one sliding through the grass. That's Dom DeLeo in the 21. Oh, gosh.
Looks like it triggered between the 15 and Nolan Neiman.
I want to say I was a 15 and Nolan Neiman. Everything looks blurry on my end. This is the lap of 4. Whew.
Man, when we get a look at this incident here, there was a lot of drivers, like you mentioned, Hunter, going through the grass trying to avoid all the contact. You'll get a chance to look at quite the ride here between a few guys. So this was on the backstretch. It's Nolan Neiman in the 15 and the 23 of Dean Gagliano on the outside. They were racing right at the back of the top 10. I believe this was for the 8th spot. And you just see the contact here. The 23 gets loose, comes down and clips the 15 there. Kind of triggers a chain event. And look at the 92 of Dustin Carroll squeeze right through there. A lot of drivers squeezing through there in what was almost a catastrophic wreck.
Yeah, and there was nowhere to go for the 81 of Jeremy Horn. And touched on it before the broadcast. Turn 4 will be treacherous because we saw cars getting loose there before we went live. Saw a good bit of cars get loose during qualifying, and then we saw it here just a few moments ago. Wow. There you go. The seas parted ways, and the 92 of Nolan Carroll gets to live another lap.
It was Dustin Carroll there in the 92, but yeah, Nolan Neiman was the one who got sent around there in the 15. That was a close call there for a lot of drivers, but thankfully, you know, from a fan perspective, I don't see too many guys really tore up. I don't think anybody in that wreck is going to have, you know, race-ending damage or anything close to it. So these guys should still be able to get those machines fixed up and carry on here tonight in Nashville. So second caution, Hunter, here on lap 50. Cautions breed cautions. We're seeing it already.
Yeah, I was just about to touch up on that. I think a wise man once said, cautions breed cautions, and we're seeing that right now.
Well, the thing I wanted to throw out there right before the crash all triggered, and it's still true, I believe, for the moment, is our entire top 10 right now, none of those drivers have a win this season.
I can look through, yeah, none of them do.
Man, I don't know, but look at this 02. That damage on that hood has looked like it's been repaired.
Yeah, he called it out. He said, hey, you know, I don't think I'm too down on power. He was asking other drivers what their RPMs were looking like. He felt like he was in decent shape there. I was watching him a little bit on that run before the caution came out. He looked like he was up to speed somewhat, maybe lacking a tenth or two, but at the rate he was going, you know, lacking a tenth or two might not mean too much.
Yeah, this caution really helped him out because then he repaired whatever was left of the damage on the car that he didn't get to. It's also an interesting strategy in case we go on another long green flag run. Some of these guys got a few that came in and pitted, good bit actually, but those that stayed out can save fuel on this run and try and stretch it another 40-50 laps if we get a green flag run.
Like Hurley and Horn was for repairing damage. They probably got fuel while they were in. Smith and Ward in now with Gagliano and Neiman. I think Neiman's car actually took the brunt of that. You see the car there.
I saw a little bit of damage, or a good bit of damage, I should say. But yeah, Nolan's got some. But the 23 of Dean Gagliano, his left front looked pretty tore up last time I was able to get a look at that. Here's a 15 car. Doesn't seem too crazy bad. And then the left front on the 23 there. See, somehow the 23's got worse damage than the 02 does.
It's strange how that works sometimes.
Yeah, it's the luck of the draw, but...
Nick Trader putting in the chat. Must have not forgotten about his booster seat if he'd seen that.
Yeah. All right, so we're stacked up and ready to go again.
Yep, this time James Shanewolf, our leader, chooses the outside lane. Got less than 70 laps here, almost halfway through the Nashville 160. 120 laps slated, completed 52 so far. We'll be on 53 when the pace car pulls in.
How about our third and fourth place drivers, Hunter? Kevin Hayes, Brian Dixon.
Well, then behind those guys, you got Brandon Hejic and Adam Capps, Dustin Carroll, Trevor Williams, Michael Leip, and Nick Halda in the top 10. Here we go, the 31 Shane Wolf on the outside, leading the field back to green here in Nashville.
Trying to get the cameras. There we go. Back under green here. Shane Wolf takes a good jump there. Go ahead.
I was behind. They're thinking they're coming off 3 and 4. They're already at the start-finish line. Whoops.
Battle in the back, though, for third and fourth. Kevin Hayes has a spot. Brian Dixon trying to hold on to fourth. Adam Capps there.
Yeah, tight racing between that whole group.
Somebody disappearing in the middle of that group, not a good idea.
I think it was the 33 of Brian Dixon. Seems to be okay now.
Yep, thanks.
Oh, there he goes. He's back. Makes it tough for somebody in the position of the 55 of Adam Capps. You got that guy blinking in front of you, and you're also getting attacked from the one of Trevor Williams right behind you.
Got some side-by-side action going on towards the back part. There you see Nick Halda there on the outside. Oh, contact almost made between him and Matthew Robinson, still trying to work his way through.
Light
You got
in this
Michael
group.
Leip in front of those. And then Dustin Carroll, not Nolan Carroll.
How about Christmas Carol?
Maybe when we get to Christmas time. Now Leip looking underneath the 92. This is a battle for the 8th spot. Nick Halda trying to work the outside, see if they can generate some sort of run there. Some good side-by-side racing there.
See Hurley on the back of this group.
Yep, Jordan Hurley under that most recent caution repaired what was left of his damages and has seemed to be catching up. So we got a battle here between there we go, back to another battle.
Yeah, this is a tight one.
Underneath Leip.
The 26 and the 40 are racing each other really, really hard, and that's for the 8th spot as they exit turn 4. And now we got a 3 wide back.
Well, they were 3 wide for a split second, but Nick Halda going for it. Robinson passes Leip, Halda passes Tinch, and you got Hurley passing Carroll, and Dom DeLeo looking to pass. I believe that's Carroll on the outside. Tinch now peeking his nose down low. Nope. There's that 0-2. We'll keep our eye on him throughout the rest of the race.
He gets really low on the apron. Not a lot of drivers have been using that under green flag conditions much, but he's one of the few that we see pick up a lot of speed by jumping down on the apron, getting that momentum built up as he heads down into turn 1. Up front, the 19 of Rick Christensen, he's kind of closed back into our race leaders, James Shanewolf, and he really is able to charge the corners compared to our race leader, but the 31 machine kind of stretches that lead back out on the straightaways a little bit.
Got a little pack behind them for third. It's the 3 car. You got Kevin Hayes, then Brian Dixon, Adam Capps, all under a blanket. There you see the field now. Back to single file racing. Got some side-by-side action towards the back, but it's mostly single file once again.
Now, as we come up to halfway, we got quite a few people watching us on Twitch. I'd like to hear from the crowd what they think is going to happen at the end of this race. And who you guys think is going to win this thing?
Well, I can already assure I'm sticking with my pick of Jordan Hurley. As soon as I make
You
my pick,
can't,
I stick
you
with
can't
it.
change. You already gave it. I'm talking about the people watching.
I don't know if you were asking us if we
No,
wanted
you
to change
can't
our pick
change.
or not.
There's no mulligans in auto racing.
Nah, as soon as I make my pick, I stick with it. That's regardless of racing. Could be basketball, hockey, football. As soon as I make my pick, I stick with it. You did mention we're on lap 61, our halfway break here, presented by Swift Lifestyles. Fans, be sure to visit our sponsor, Swift Lifestyles, for clean supplements that help improve your focus in gaming. Use discount code AREA iRacing. That's AREA iRacing for 15% off your entire order. I'd like to give a big thanks to Swift Lifestyles for their support of Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. So our leader, James Shane Wolf, led 13 laps so far, drove his way from the back to the front. Well, not really the back, but he was deep in the field, and now he's up front here, fending off the lead from Rick Christensen, who's tight on his bumper. See, Rick Christensen, he's been one of the faster drivers in the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series who has yet to have a win. He's led some laps here tonight, but can tonight be the night where he finally gets that first win?
And then how about the unsung driver here tonight in the third spot? Kevin Hayson, the number 3 man. He's been having a solid year, up and down at certain tracks in terms of speed and honestly luck overall, but tonight it's all playing into his hands. He's got a strong run, was able to catch the caution at the right time, and that number 3 sits in P3. Then right behind him, Brian Dixon, one of the drivers with the highest average finish in the series that has started every race. He's got an average finish of 10 coming into tonight. That puts him 5th in the points, and you look through the points and you see all those guys that you were used to seeing up front. And then you see Brian Dixon right there in 5th, and you're like, where did he come from? And it's because of nights like tonight where he's able to keep that car clean and find his way towards the front at the end. He's running 4th.
Yep, and then right behind him in 5th, battle for 5th, Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams was in the top 5 at one point, and then he driven his way back up through the top 5, trying to take the spot away from Adam Capps. But look for Trevor Williams. He seems to have a fast car here tonight. And right behind him, close to the bumper, is the 55 of Adam Capps. Volleyball Racing. He started deep in the field as well. And whoa, almost got loose there off turn 4 underneath our next driver there, Matthew Robinson.
Now Robinson, one of the guys we saw qualify on the front row, and then fell back to 2nd, and then to 3rd, and then to 4th, and then all of a sudden he was outside the top 5. Well, since that pit stop, he was stuck a lap down, had to get the the wave round, got himself back on the lead lap, and now he's making his charge towards the front in that number 40. And right behind him, following suit with him, is the 26 of Michael Leip. The drive-through penalty on lap 1, but the rebound is there for the 26. He's up to P8, and we see a little bit sideways driving by the 55 of Adam Capps right behind him. And that'll conclude our midway race rundown here with Nick Halda in the 87, our Daytona winner, as Hunter likes to call him.
Yeah, well, he's the Daytona winner. He won the first race here ever in Araya. And he's
Can't take it away
hard
from him.
back. Yeah, no, you can't take it away from him. They tried to do it in post-race inspection, but he came through.
Yeah.
Up front here, it's still a close battle between James Shane Wolf and Rick Christensen for the lead. They've separated themselves from 3rd place. Some spot seems to go to Brian Dixon. Dixon's taking over that 3rd spot now. Kevin Hayes dropped to 4th. And then you got, oh boy, you got the duo of Matthew Robinson and Michael Leip there closing in on the one of Trevor Williams. Sorry.
Yeah. And it seems like right now the 40 and the 26 have been the most aggressive on this short run since the restart. They've really made a lot of passes down low and up high, and we saw how hard they were racing each other at one point even. But I'm concerned about the tire wear on these guys' machines just because of how much they've been abusing that race car to try to find their way to the front, from the back. I'm not sure if they're going to have enough, tire left on that machine to really hunt down our leaders, but they're able to get up to the back bumper of Trevor Williams. But Williams, to his credit, has got a lot of pace in that number 1 car. He has not been an easy pass compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, it just makes the 33 and the 3 seem like they're a bunch of sitting ducks.
Yeah, which I don't know if they are tonight. I mean, Brian Dixon now, he's passed and made his way up to 3rd as we got a battle for the lead forming up between Rick Christensen, who actually just snuck around the 31 on the bottom side of the racetrack. He's almost clear of him. He is probably clear if he wanted to move up in front of him, but he didn't want to throw the block. It was a little too close to the call there. They stay side by side down into 3 and 4, Hunter.
Oh, Shane Wolf not giving up on the outside, putting up a fight as they come off turn 4. Really haven't seen the outside lane being used as much for battles through the corner. And Shane Wolf trying to hang on to that lead, but it looks like Christensen's got the edge.
And it's just getting tighter and tighter between these two cars as they go down into each corner. Again, though, Shane Wolf prevailing on that outside lane, leaving a lot of momentum up there on the top side of the track. And what this is doing is allowing that 33 of Brian Dixon to catch these two drivers for the lead. The 19 of Christensen seems to be a little bit quicker right now, but not able to complete the pass.
Yeah, Brian Dixon's like, wait a minute, stay there.
I know.
Don't move a muscle, I'm coming. Boy, Shane Wolf really putting up a fight on the outside. Have not seen this throughout the race at all. Getting later and later into the night. 31 seeming to find some grip up there to stay side by side.
And it's really even too. It's not like one of them stretching out a nose over the other. It's been, even throughout the entire racetrack the past 3 or 4 laps.
Oh!
Right there, a little bit of contact almost between the two. I think this is going to get the 19 clear.
It will. Saw a battle there in the back for 4th. Kevin Hayes and Trevor Williams, they were side by side. Hayes held on to the spot for the moment, but Christensen up to the lead. Now 31 is Shane Wolf trying to look underneath him. Oh, looked like he was going to drive it into him. Thinks better of it.
And now Christensen to the lead with 49 laps to go here at Nashville. But I wouldn't count out anybody within our top 7 drivers, really top 8. Honestly, this race is still wide open. I don't know who is going to be the one in victory lane when it's all said and done. But I'm seeing some really good racing at Nashville Superspeedway already. And I'm also seeing that 33 close up onto these leaders.
Yeah, them staying side by side was the best thing that he could have seen. And they're not even running the bottom now. They're running 2-3 grooves up the track.
And I think Brian Dixon is catching these guys even since they single filed out. I don't know if it's the draft on these long straightaways or what it is, but he's starting to pull up. I mean, it was the second back, a few laps ago, and now it's down to a half second.
Shane Wolf almost clotheslined the 19 of Christensen. I think it was the battle that definitely did it. They were side by side for about 2 or 3 laps, and it really, the tire wear from both these guys, as Shane Wolf seems to have fallen off a cliff here.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much do you think he burned up his tires trying to maintain that run on the outside line? That might be something that'll be a detriment to that 31 car, as now the 33 is closed in on his back bumper, and we got a closer battle for second than we do the lead.
Yeah, there's an even closer battle right behind them. Michael Light trying to pass Williams on the outside for the 5th spot. Couldn't quite get there. But all these guys were under a blanket, and following, don't look now, it's 0-2 of Jordan Hurley.
So we got a battle for second, and then we got this group from 4th to 6th pretty much all fighting for each other's spot inside the top 5. The one's actually going to pull high. He's going to let the 26 go low. Good run now for the 26 of Michael Light. And he just called it out over radio. He said, I'm not going to burn my tires off trying to fight this 3, and he's going to let these guys by right now, is what the number 1 of Trevor Williams stated.
That's probably the best thing Williams could have done, because I think any one of these 3, like Robinson or Jordan Hurley, can go up there and win this race. So if they're all battling, close quarters racing, like, go for it. I'll just drive past you as soon as you spin out.
Well, we saw the restart, Hunter, with about 70 laps to go. So we know everybody inside this field still has to make one more pit stop, whether that's under green. Our caution flag is, yet to be determined. But I would imagine the tensions are rising to try to gain that track position. And then on the flip side of that, with 70 to go, Hunter, when we got the restart here, this opens up a whole new window of pit stops. These guys could pit now and make it to the end of the race, or they could pit with 20 to go and make it to the end of the race. So it's going to be a wide range of strategies we're going to see here.
Yep, speaking of wide, you saw the 0-2 of Hurley the last time on the front stretch. Take it wide all the way down on the apron. He passed the car that's now behind him, Matthew Robinson. Hurley, there you see him again on the apron. He's looking to pass the 26 and the 3. He's catching up on him quick. Boy, that 0-2 still got some juice left in him. Jordan Hurley at one point was leading, and then on lap 42 when lap car JJ Weng was trying to get on the pit road, got high, came back down, and right in front of him, Jordan Hurley had nowhere to go. Got some damage. It wasn't too bad. He repaired it after another quick caution. Now he's driven him all the way up inside the top 5, taking that 5th spot away from Michael Light.
I don't think we can give Hurley enough credit for what he's doing right now. He's working now on the 3 of Kevin Hayes for 4th. He is over 3 seconds back from our race leader, Rick Christensen. I think that's going to be the next thing that he's going to have to try to tackle, is making up that big of a margin.
Gonna be side by side here with Hayes on the front stretch for the 4th spot. Using that apron once again, Michael Light closing back in, following the track lines of the 0-2. And clear Jordan Hurley from the 3 of Kevin Hayes. Now Hayes has Michael Leif to his inside. The Leif's going to tuck back in, but yep, now though, 2 has his eyes set on the 33 of Brian Dixon. Well, at one point looked like he was going to go to the lead.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, and then he got to the back bumper of the 31, and he kind of started falling off again. But with that, the 19 of Rick Christensen, he has not fallen off one bit. He has now stretched that lead out to almost a second advantage over James Shanewolf in second place.
Yeah, he's really stretched that out within the last few laps.
And I wonder if that's a factor of clean air as we got pit stops now. Matthew Robinson in the 40 and the 87 of Nick Halda hitting pit road.
It's an interesting call. You said it. These guys are good to go the rest of the way on fuel. Now it just depends on when you pit.
Halda
past his pits.
Box, yeah, that's going to be costly.
Just that green flag, not a good day.
But, you know, Harold mentioned it on their first stop. They were cutting the race into third, so they pitted on 40. Well, right on cue, lap 80, they came down pit road for their second stop to make it another 40-lap sprint to the end. So they stuck to their strategy even with the caution flags. I'm curious to see now when somebody like Rick Christensen decides to come down pit road. The lead, though, continuing to grow for the 19, up to 1.3 seconds.
Now we got Trevor Williams, Dom DeLeo coming down pit road also. Bobby Tinch also on pit road. They're going to be lapped down when they come back up.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the lap time difference, too, between these guys that came out and these guys that are still on the racetrack.
Whoa.
There's Trevor Williams getting off of pit road. Tricky racetrack as well on pit exit there. The grass really comes up to you quick.
Yeah, he was doing a little bit of agricultural work. Track hasn't seen it in about a decade, so might as well help out.
So there's Williams right now in the number 1. I believe the first car on one lap down that I already pitted is going to be the 40 of Matthew Robinson. He's just in front of the 1 here by a few seconds. He's working around the 81 of Jeremy Horn. But you see him there at the top of your screen. He is the first car who's already made their final pit stop of the race. Now we're kind of down to the 19 of Rick Christensen, the 31 of James Shanewolf, as well as the number 33 of Brian Dixon. The top 3 drivers still need to make their stop, and I'm curious to see, you know, what ends up their strategy ends up being.
There you see, that's a perfect example of new tires versus old tires. Trevor Williams on the newer tires, passing the 81 of Jeremy Horn, who's on 34-lap old tires. Just passed him with these and driving away with these also.
So up front, the lead now has grown even more for Rick Christensen. He's got it up to 1.5 seconds over second place James Shanewolf. The pit stop is probably nerve-wracking for these guys, Hunter, because they know anything can happen. The caution flag could throw a complete wrench into everyone's strategy, so I think he's probably a little hesitant to come down pit road. But if I had to guess, Hunter, I think lap 90 is when these guys up front decide to come down.
Yeah, I mean, it happened once, it can happen again.
You see Caleb Steimer coming off of pit road just in front of our race leader, Rick Christensen. Obviously, with the fresher tires there, I don't think it'll be too much of a factor. I think Christensen's going to be able to fall in line and not have to worry about trying to get around the 18. He should be able to start pulling away, but potentially that draft might help that 19 on the straightaways even grow that lead and that margin even more.
Could stretch it some more with the fuel run.
So a few more drivers coming off pit road there. It looks like that was the 69 of Gary Lewis making his final stop. So we're down to just our top 10 drivers. There's the 3 of Kevin Hayes is in. Looks like the 34 as well I saw come by, Rick Ward. The 12 of Brandon Hedrick. Yep,
Hedrick's on pit road too.
Got the call for the 81 to come down from 8th. He gets onto pit road safely. So that leaves, I believe, 7 drivers now that still need to make their final pit stop. Correction, 8 drivers with Mark Patterson there. I'm concerned Rick Christensen's given up too much time staying out here this long to the 40 at Matthew Robinson and all those other drivers that have already made their pit stop. You see the lap time on your screen. Over a second a lap quicker Matthew Robinson is than these guys who have yet to make their final stop. But I think my prediction is right. I think lap 90 is going to be the lap he decides to bring it in. We'll have to see what Rick Christensen, our race leader, decides to do here.
Meanwhile, Jordan Hurley's caught up to the 31 of James Shanewolf.
And he's going to be pitting as well, he just called out. Ooh, he's getting on there hot. Oh, he's actually going to lose it.
Oh, no.
Sitting there in the pit entrance, he's going to get rolling there, but all that time we saw the O2 make up is all out the window now.
Do you think it might have been something to do with Dean Gagliano on his bumper and having to be more concerned?
I think he just got in there a little too hot, it looked like. Once the back end started sliding around when he was making that transition on the pit road, you know, from the apron, that banking transition, I think he started losing it there, knowing that it was going to be hard to get on the brakes when your car's sideways like that anyways. But I don't think he lost a ton of time. We saw some drivers slide through their box, which is about a similar loss of time to, you know, that slide that we saw. Apparently the 19 of Rick Christensen, I believe, did make his pit stop, so I missed that while all that was going on.
Yeah, Christensen's on pit road right now.
But we got to see where he cycles out now. He's coming out of pit road now in the 19. So we'll see where the 19 cycles out compared to 33. The 40 of Matthew Robinson. That's going to be the race for the lead, essentially.
Brian Dixon's on the pit road also.
So where's our 19 car at here, Harold? See where he's going to stack up. So there he is off of turn 4.
Whoa.
And I believe
far
he
behind
might...
him. Looked like he got into the wall, almost spun out. That was Adam Capps.
So he's well behind Matthew Robinson. There's Matthew Robinson, and we saw Rick Christensen in turn 2. So almost a straightaway advantage for the 40 by the time everything cycles through. 31 of James Shanewolf, though, still on the racetrack. He's got to make his final stop along with Adam Capps, Dustin Carroll, and we see Michael Lipe on pit road now. So strategy-wise, Hunter, about 10 lap fresher tires for for Rick Christensen than Matthew Robinson. We'll have to see exactly what the difference is once it cycles out, but it's going to be a matter of, can Rick Christensen track down the number 40 car with 25 laps to go?
I mean, it's very interesting because, you know, the later you pit, the fresher your tires are. But at one point, is it too late where tires don't even matter?
Well, I think Rick did the best move possible for his circumstance, which is come in with 30 to go, because that's about the most, you know, he gave up 10 laps of not having the fresh tires, but at the same time, like you mentioned, he's going to have, you know, Robinson's car on 10 lap older tires. I don't know exactly what that difference is going to be, if he's going to be able to make it up. It really is going to depend on, once these final few guys come down, what the exact difference is. If it's 5 seconds, 6 seconds, I think it's possible, but if we're talking 10 seconds, it might be too much.
I'm looking through, and once the top 3 pit, top 5's going to cycle out Matthew Robinson, Trevor Williams, Dominic DeLeo, Nick Halda, and Rick Christensen. That'll be your top 5.
And Christensen just got around Nick Halda going into turn 1. So he is quicker. He's running about, you know, a few tenths quicker than the 40 right now. Still waiting on James Shanewolf to decide to come down pit road. He must have pitted under our last caution, though, and has that extra fuel in the tank to stretch it out even further.
We'll say Rick Christensen looks to be about maybe 4 to 5 seconds behind Matthew Robinson.
So I'm showing with the top guys, they're at 52 and 53 laps. Shanewolf, Capps, and Carroll. They got to be coming down pretty soon.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Once the caution comes out, then they can save fuel and keep their track position.
Well, there you see DeLeo, and here comes the 19 of Christensen right behind him. And James Shanewolf calling in to pit. So Shanewolf's going to be pitting right in front of these guys on fresh tires. Hopefully he gets in smoothly, and he does. And now the 19 of Christensen now is going to have to deal with Dominic DeLeo and make that pass. And he does so as well, it looks like.
There you see the 55 car of Adam Capps. He's going to cycle as the leader now. He was loose and almost spun out going off turn 4 a few laps ago, but you can just see the tires, they're basically done. Everyone else has newer tires. They're catching them with ease.
So there we get a look at the exact difference, and it's under 5 seconds between Matthew Robinson and Rick Christensen once everything cycles through. So Man, it's gonna be hard. Christensen's gonna have to drive it, try to get up there. But you mentioned it. Adam Cap still got to make his final stop. Justin Carroll still has to make his final stop. Those two you see on the screen right now in the Audible Racing machines. 55 just called it in. He's coming.
That car will be your leader on the screen, Matthew Robinson.
They're coming in now, both of them. The 55 and the 92 called it out.
There you see Shane Wolf coming off pit road. You're going to see the 55 here trying to get on the pit road.
And here he comes. Looks to be smooth so far, exiting the racetrack. He's coming in a little hot, it looks like, but he's getting it wound down as well as Dustin Carroll. So those are the last two cars. That's going to complete the cycle and hand the lead over to the 40.
Yep, Matthew Robinson's going to go ahead and take the lead away. He's got about a little over a second over the one of Trevor Williams.
And you see him right there in the shot as well. So it's not out of range too much for Trevor Williams. I'm curious what his tire strategy is. Did he pit after the 40 as well?
He pitted one lap after the 40.
Okay. It's a little bit fresher. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but there you see the difference now. Officially 3.5 seconds to the 19 of Rick Christensen with 10 lap fresher tires and 20 laps to go.
Well, the one might catch the 40, but I don't know about Rick Christensen.
Well, I think once, the 40 gets to that point where the times really start dropping off, which I would assume it's going to be soon because he's still running 31. Well, actually, he's kind of already, had that drop off. He's running 31.4s right now. Closer to the end of the first run and second run of the race, he was running 32 flats. So he's still got about a half second of drop off left. It's going to be about, if the 19 can manage his tires enough to where, when the 40 gets to that drop off of 32 seconds, if the 19's still running, low 31s, that lead will start coming down in a hurry.
Yep.
And he's already chipped off almost a second right there.
Yeah. We're inside 20 to go now. The last 20 laps or so will be sponsored by Sim Speed Shop. I'd like to give a big thanks to Sim Speed Shop for their support of the Sim Speed Shop Cup Series this season in Araya. Racers can visit their website at www.simspeedshop.com to find multiple items to complete their virtual racing setups, such as button boxes, wheels, racing gear, and more. That's www.simspeedshop.com. And you can catch the Sim Speed Shop Cup Series live from Nashville Thursday night on the Araya Twitch channel.
That lead's getting close.
I was to say the lap in which Christensen caught a lot. Robinson ran a 31.6 and Christensen ran a 31.1. So over half a second faster that time by. Looking through this time, 31.6 between Robinson, Trevor Williams. Another 31.1 from Rick Christensen, another half lap faster. He might actually have a shot.
Yeah, that's what I said. But I'm telling you, the 40's tires are going to get to a point to where he's running high 31s, almost 32-second lap times. And that 19 will still be running, low 31s. So I think that'll be the big difference. And that's going to happen here in the next handful of laps. I mean, shoot, we only got 17 to go.
And there's Christensen looking underneath the one of Williams right now. Williams not even putting up a fight. He's just going to let him go.
Now the lead's down to 1.6. Did anybody pick Christensen pre-race?
Honestly, I don't think so.
I know I went with DeLeo, and he's back there in fourth. He's still making me proud, though.
I got the number one that's in the third position. So.
And I got the car that Scarlett been a wreck and that was driven up to the 7th spot. That's Jordan Hurley.
That lead's down, man. He's gaining pretty quick here, Hunter. Still about 0.3 a lap quicker than the 40.
Chat's asking if DeLeo's looking for his first top 10. I thought he already had one.
I can check really quick for you. I got it right here. I don't think he has had a top 10. He's still down there in 22nd in points. Not been the season he wants. No, his best career finish so far is a 15.
Wow.
It'll be his first top 10 and top 5.
Potentially, yeah. He's looking to clean him up tonight. But man, that lead now is down to 0.8 of a second. He's getting there in a hurry. I just wonder if he's trying to be too aggressive too quick, because we saw it. We've seen it in weeks past where the guy in second gets right up to the leader and then all of a sudden the leader takes back off.
could very well be the case. So you see, that's the view of the rear bumper from Robinson. You see the car behind him. Rick Christensen getting bigger and bigger. Two-tenths quicker that time was Christensen over Matthew Robinson. Now down to half a second here.
Yeah.
That 19 is looking awfully big.
Yeah, he's looking sporty right now. Man, only 8 laps led for Robinson, which is crazy because I feel like he's been up front for a lot longer than that. But with all the fuel strategy we saw, you know, it kind of opened the door for a lot of other people to get laps led. But here comes the 19, Hunter.
Yep, Christensen, he's led 27. He's looking to cap off with over 30 laps led here. So he's going to try the outside, diving it down in the middle. Yep, building up the run here for the backstretch. So
oh, wow.
He's got a big run. Where's he going to go? Goes down low. Side by side going into turn 3. Christensen looking underneath Robinson. The battle for the win, potentially. And Christensen's going to take it with ease, no doubt about it. Put Rick Christensen up front with 11 to go here in Nashville.
Beautiful pass. We saw him fighting James Shanewolf for, what, 4 or 5 laps side by side? And he made a mental note of that. And he said, next time I get a chance to pass for the lead, I'm going to make sure I have as much speed as possible getting down there into the corner. And we saw him enter high, get that sharp exit off, build up the speed in that 19, and just fly right around the 40. Very, very, very well executed move there by the 19 of Rick Christensen.
Well, I think we might have jinxed Dominic DeLeo on the top 5. He's falling back to 7th now. Maybe a top 10 still in reach. Yep, Jordan Hurley, James Shanewolf, they've moved up.
A big old pack back there, right outside the top 5. Jordan Hurley, James Shanewolf, Nick Halda, Dominic DeLeo, they're all, Kevin Hayes, all racing each other right here.
Yep, this is about
4th to 9th?
4th to 10th.
Yeah.
Yep, decent pack of cars here. Look at that.
Isn't that funny? I mean, these guys are all on different strategies, and somehow, throughout all the pit stops, all the cycling out, they're all tucked under, what, a second and a half of each other?
Yeah, the thing that Rick Christensen does not want to see here is any one of these guys creating a yellow from their close battle, because they're not gonna settle for 5th or 6th. They're gonna try and create a way to get inside the top 5 here, get some of these drivers their best run of the season.
I was going to say, we saw how long the 31 of James Shanewolf stayed out on that last run. So in terms of tires, he's going to have extremely fresh tires. The only problem is he's 7.5 seconds back now as he's cleared the 02 of Jordan Hurley. But that 31 car, he's going to definitely be the fastest car on track for at least the next few laps. But right now, it's the 19 of Rick Christensen out front, second advantage over Matthew Robinson with 8 to go.
Yeah, the only way Christensen does not win is if a yellow comes out, because then that opens the door. That opens the door up if a yellow comes out. Just saying.
Another set of tires for everybody, and everything changes. Because everybody's got tires.
Levels change a lot too.
And everybody has a set of tires sitting in pit road, so if something like that happened, everybody be coming down pit lane.
And I'm getting nervous because, you know, I'm also in the sim, right? So I can hear other things going on the racetrack. And I just occasionally hear metal crunching, tires squealing. And I just get nervous and I'm waiting for the yellow flag to fly, but I never see it come out. So for Rick Christensen's sake, I'm hoping this thing stays green. But if you're a James Shanewolf fan, a Jordan Hurley fan, you're hoping that caution flag comes out, because those guys will be right back in the mix. But I mean, look at the time James Shanewolf is taking off the lead each and every lap. That tire difference is massive right now. Just not going to be enough. And how about Trevor Williams, Hunter? We talked about him a lot of this race. Has he left the top 5 all night long?
He was in it for a good bit, and then the pit cycles caution came out, and then pit cycles got him back outside top 10, and then he drove his way back inside the top 10 and inside the top 5.
He's been quick, though, is what I'm trying to say, all night long. I feel like he's been up in the mix.
He might have a shot here at second on Robinson.
See some tight racing there between Jordan Hurley and James Shanewolf. Not quite sure what happened last lap, but The 31 car lost like close to a second in just one lap alone, and it let the O2 get right back up to him. And then those two started battling again now as we got 4 to go. So the race for fifth might not be over. Excuse me, race for fourth might not be over. O2 looking down low, still not going to be able to get there on the fresh tires of James Shanewolf, but up front, stretched it out now, almost 2.5 seconds for the 19 machine of Rick Christensen. You see the Infinite Gaming colors on that car. Infinite, of course, a big part of what we're doing over here at Area iRacing, so definitely recommend you guys checking them out. I believe they're one of the biggest esports organizations in North Carolina, so it's cool to be working with some teams like that. I know Garrett Heath is a big part of that, as well as a big part of Rick Christensen over here on iRacing, and pretty cool to see him up front, man. 3 to go. He's going to be coming to 2 to go, and he's had quite the story this season, Hunter.
Yes, he has. He's been one of the faster cars in the series, too. Just something in the end always seems to get him, and it seems like tonight might be his night, depending on these next 2 laps from his first win. Also, it might be an interesting look at the second spot because Trevor Williams is he's gaining again on the 40 of Robinson. It might be too little too late, but he's definitely closed the gap a lot. Don't think he'll have enough time to get the second spot, though. And Jordan Hurley's actually passed the 31 of Shane Wolf. Coming off turn 4, we're going to get our 1 to go here at Nashville, presented by 1 to go Studios.
Big sigh of relief just came out of the 19 of Rick Christensen, I bet you there. To get to that white flag and know he's only got 1 lap left here at Nashville with a big lead out front.
Well, it's not over just yet. Kyle Larson could get a tire on the last lap and lose a race. It could happen to Rick Christensen. There he comes through turn 3 and 4 for the final time. Rick Christensen, he's going to finally break through, and coming off turn 4, he's going to win here in Nashville and get his first win in the Uriah Sims Speed Shop Cup. Oh my gosh, that was bad. In the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. Wow.
First win for the 19 Rick Christensen, and I can hear it through the radio's commotion already. A lot of the drivers are happy for him, and he sounds like he is pretty excited as well to finally get that monkey off his back.
I would be excited too. I mean, what a win. Great job by Rick Christensen, Infinite Gaming, everyone over there. Huge win for that team. And coming through, Matthew Robinson held on the second. Trevor Williams got third. Jordan Hurley fourth. And James Shanewolf rounding out your top 5.
Now he's going to park it there on the start-finish line and start the burnouts for Rick Christensen. His first win of the season and first career win in Area iRacing, the 19 for Infinite Gaming. Rick Christensen burning it down here at Nashville. What a race.
Yes, indeed. And we jinxed Dominic DeLeo out of a top 5, but he held on to 10th. That's his best run in the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series.
We got to get Rick up here. I can just hear him through the radio. And he's... Oh, I just got to go drag him up here. I'm going to go drag him up. Let's go ahead, Hunter, and let's get a chance to talk to our race winner, Rick Christensen. I'm listening in on the radio, man. I know this win means a lot to you, and you put a lot of time into this. Rick, talk us through what's going through your head right now.
Disbelief. I know I can run in the top, but them guys are so fast, you know. You got the O2 car coming in. He's really, really fast. And, of course, you got the regulars, Robinson, Shane Wolf. You know, there's a whole bunch of fast guys, and geez, just to run in the top 5 is what I'm shooting for.
Yeah, well, we've seen it throughout the year. You've had top 5 pace. There always seems to be something at the very end that prevents you from winning these races, but not tonight. Tonight was your night. Tell us what this means to you, to Infinite Gaming, everyone out there.
Well, I always bring up the topic. I'm 61 years old, so to be able to compete with these guys in a sim, you know, if I was outside racing a real race car, I couldn't do this, you know. But it's awesome that you're able to do this and compete with people of all ages, you know. No, it's huge. Garrett was he's a good. I don't know if Garrett's good at anything, but he was helping me. So yeah, I want to thank you guys, all the sponsors, Swift Lifestyles, Lodgebox, the admins. I mean, you guys broadcasting, it's such a pleasure to watch, So no, this is a big deal to me. So yeah, it's a big deal.
Well, Rick, you brought up a perspective I never even really considered, and that's the fact that we're on iRacing, and it's something to where it kind of levels the playing field in terms of everybody getting the chance to compete outright and fairly and squarely, and we're all out here in the fixed setups. Don't matter the age, whatever. You're able to come out here and compete, and I'm sure that really helps keep that competitive drive going within you. And honestly, from me, the league owner, Jacob Bell, man, it is an honor to have you racing here, and it's an honor to see you finally getting done and get it into victory lane. And it was a pleasure to watch, man. You did a good job on that strategy call, too, at the end. Kind of talk us through what was going through your head when you saw the white flag finally wave, and you didn't have to worry about the caution flag coming out, or a car stopped on the backstretch, or any of that chaos again.
Yeah, that's about all I could think of. Probably the last 20 laps is no caution, because I knew the 02, even though he had problems, he was really quick. And, everyone on fresh tires, it's anyone's game then. So I was good on the long runs. I know James was struggling off a 4 a lot. And I was just setting the car early, letting it roll, and I was full throttle off every lap. So I had that down pretty good. So yeah, like I said, I have to practice. I feel I have to practice a lot. Some of these guys can probably just hop in the hour before the race and do well. I can't do that, so I got to put some time in.
All right, Rick. Well, we'll let you go ahead and celebrate here. Big win for you in Infinite Gaming.
Yep. I want to thank Infinite for sure, and everyone that's involved in putting this together. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely, Rick. Well, good luck. We'll see you after the off week in a couple of weeks. And like I said, congrats again, man.
Yep. Thanks, Jacob.
That was the race winner, Rick Christensen. And there's your second place finisher, Matthew Robinson. Matthew, it's Hunter, Harold, and Jake in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Man, you had a top 5 pace there. You seemed to be second fiddle to Jordan Hurley. Then he had his misfortune. Then pit stops kind of cycled everything out, and then you seem to have it at the end. But Christensen caught up on you.
Yeah, the first run I burnt my stuff up pretty good, and then got mired back, and then the first pit stop I had to get a wave around, so I started in the back and then worked my way up a little bit, and then come to the second pit stop. We had to try something. So to gain those spots back, and I think we were like 8th or so when we pitted, and inherited the lead after everyone pitted, and thought I was going to pull it off there, but Rick was coming too strong. So, but I'm happy with second.
Oh. Yeah, so jumping in here, I'm jumping in. So yeah, I was going to mention, Hunter kind of talked about it too. Your second place speed seemed like with the O2 car, and then that wave around, obviously not easy to come from. You have to restart in the back and kind of pick your way through the traffic once again. But talk to us about Nashville tonight. Obviously, it was a lot of our first times watching a race here, and actually seeing it on iRacing being used. Have you had much experience here going into tonight?
I think I might have done a truck race here when they first come out, but I hadn't not since yesterday. Had much practice in the ARCA car, but yeah, it was definitely a different track, man. It's in between like a Chicago sort of and like a Iowa. You sort of you have the high speeds, but you got to slow down quite a bit to get into the corners and make it turn. But really tight track, and you got to be careful coming off the corners, passing people, and but it was fun. Got a lot to learn here. Rick definitely had a different line than everyone else. Going through the turn one, especially. But we'll have to figure him out and see what we can do next time.
All right, Matthew. Well, any final thoughts or shout outs you want to give out before you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Justin Rideout, JW Racing. They help me out all the time. We always on here, running in all kinds of cars and just trying to improve. And I was subbing for Sean Corcoran and today, and so I was happy to get him and Samson and Curtis and Northern Capital a good finish for their team, and hopefully they'll do good in the points championship here coming up. And I'd like to thank Track Racer, and you can use JW Racing as a discount code on their website.
All right, Matthew, we'll let you go here. Congrats on the second place finish here. All right.
Thank you.
That was Matthew Robinson there, second place finisher. Now, third place finisher. And Harold, this is your pick, Trevor Williams. Trevor, it's Hunter, Harold, and Jake in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, guys, how's it going?
Going pretty good. You had about an up and down night. You were running top 5, then cautions came out, pit stop, cycled through, then you got outside the top 10, then you drove your way back into the top 5. Take us through what that night's been for you.
Tonight was, like you said, kind of up and down for me. That first caution, I kicked myself. I would have loved to wait another lap and been up there with Rick and Shane Wolf, because I really think that Rick and I, after Jordan, his car got hurt there, I think him and I had the best long run cars. So, but yeah, it's kind of hard to save your tires on this track coming up through the traffic. So I just did the best I could and didn't race too hard and bide the time, I guess.
Oh, Jake's mic's still muted. Well, you were Harold's pick tonight, and Harold's like, every other driver I've picked on bad luck, but no bad luck for you tonight.
I got lucky tonight. I feel like I don't want to say who I'm following because I'm afraid I'm gonna jinx them. But Trevor, I've been watching your number 1 car. You guys have been staying pretty steady throughout, and you guys are just on the outside looking in. Keep at it. You'll probably be getting one between the next few races. Just keep it up. If nothing else, you'll be up in the points and in the playoffs pretty soon.
Yeah, I hope so. And Harold, you can pick me anytime, man. You don't got to worry. I don't believe in jinxes and bad luck, so
I don't know, right. But that commentator's curse is a real animal. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it can be, but I don't believe in that stuff. We just go forward.
I think the curse transitioned from Harold to me, and now I'm scared to pick any other driver. Well, Trevor, any special shout-outs you want to give out before you go?
Yeah, I want to shout out you guys, of course, for putting on a good show, and everybody that's watching. I know my mom and dad like to watch, so I'm going to give a shout out to them, and just everybody go check out Saloon Door Sports. It's a little blog site I started. We do some NASCAR gambling stuff, and I'm going to plan on doing some NFL stuff if I get some time, so I appreciate it, guys.
I will definitely pay attention to that, as I am one willing to gamble. And you gambled and got a third place finish here. Congrats, Trevor.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that was Trevor Williams, the number 1 car coming home third. Let's go ahead and take a look at your results here. The Nashville 160 was won by none other than Rick Christensen, leading 39 of the 120 laps. Matthew Robinson coming home with 2nd, 3rd, Trevor Williams, 4th, Jordan Hurley. Rounding out the top 5 is James Shanewolf.
Michael Light brings it home P6 after having to serve that penalty on lap number 2. Kevin Hayes with another good run in 7th, and Brian Dixon staying true to form with that 8th place run tonight. Nicholas Halda and Dominic DeLeo rounding out our top 10. First career top 10 for Mr. DeLeo. Gary Lewis brings it home 11th for One Mind to Design Motorsports. Brendan Hedrick with a 12th place finish in the number 12. Adam Capps finishes 13th. Jeremy Horn 14th. And Bobby Tinch finishes 15th here tonight in Nashville.
Rounding out the rest of the field, we got Dustin Carroll, Caleb Steimer, Rick Ward, Dean Gagliano, Forrest Smith rounding out the top 20. Then behind him in the 21st spot, Mark Patterson. J.J. Wang with a bit of controversial race he had. Nolan Neiman, Drew Trader, and Jordan Berry. Any final thoughts, guys? Jake, I know I saw in the admin hauler, though, 00 J.J. Wang.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's take a look at our Elwood Designs race recap here really quick. Rick Christensen, mentioned, led 39 of 120 laps. Got the win. 2 cautions. They were back-to-back, but they were the only cautions of the night. And then James Shanewolf at the very end ran a 30.626 for the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, I think tonight was awesome, honestly. I was a little skeptical that first run. I think we all were, right? We saw a lot of single-file racing the first 30, 40 laps, and I was kind of thinking in the back of my head, oh, Lord, what do we got going on here? And then all of a sudden, it kind of felt like, Hunter, when the sun went down, there was a lot more racing going on. We saw a lot of side-by-side racing, a little bit of strategy sprinkled in, not too much compared to what we've been accustomed to seeing recently, but overall, I thought the racing was awesome. I thought the finish was great and a lot of battling. You know, once the sun went down, I think that's going to be something to watch for the rest of the week.
Yeah, we saw it there when the sun set. The track temp went down and saw more drivers running the outside lane. You saw that good battle between Shane Wolf holding his ground on the outside there for a few laps with Rick Christensen, but in the end, it was Rick Christensen who was destined to get that win, and he's locked into the playoffs now.
Wasn't getting taken away from him tonight, and I think everyone really liked seeing that. I mean, as soon as he crossed the line, he let out a little sigh of relief, but there was a bunch of drivers congratulating him immediately after as well. So another big shout out to Rick Christensen. Obviously, Trevor Williams with a strong run. Caleb Steimer, I see he's got some family watching, so I want to give him a shout out as well.
Harold, any final thoughts?
Well, we'll be back here tomorrow night. Cush and I will be calling the action with the Truck Series. You know, they're doing a pretty good job after a week of racing, and we'll take a week break and then back at the action here on Monday night.
Yeah, but you guys can catch that at 8:40 Eastern on the Uriah Twitch channel. And then Wednesday night, we have the Xfinity cars going at it. And then Thursday night, we got the Cup cars. So we got a full week here for the next 3 nights here at Nashville. So looking forward to that from everyone up here in the booth. Executive producer Harold Darner, second-hand man Jacob Bell. I'm leading out Ernest Leppy saying so long, and we'll see you later.
What an exciting race brought to you by One to Go Studios. Here they come out of turn 4 to the white flag, and it's 1 to go. Thank you to all our sponsors, drivers, and viewers. We'll see you at the next turn.